It's official, winter is here, puffer jacket is on. Today we're going to be looking at off-camera lighting, specifically the Lume Cube version 2. Roll the intro. Well, that's not going to be bright enough. This is the point, isn't it? Whoa. So you know how everybody is super paranoid in 2019 that their devices are listening to them? This is listening to me, this is listening to me, this is listening to me. Paranoid. Quite rightly so. I've just finished a project for the i360 and I'm constantly being bombarded with adverts from the i360 on my social media pages. It's fine, it's part of the process. But occasionally good things come from these companies hassling you. On my iPad I've got a list of things that I want to buy for Christmas, and on my Christmas list was a Lume Cube version 1, so I was going to buy that at Christmas. So a few weeks ago I got an email from the marketing department at Lume Cube and they said there's version 2 coming out soon. How would you like to get your hands on a copy and make a review of it? So here we are. I said yes, of course. They didn't know I wanted it anyway. Let's get into the details. Okay, so at the moment we're filming on the Canon 80D ISO 2500 and the background is pretty well exposed. That's looking good. But if I jump in the frame, oh, this is a bad video all of a sudden. So you need to introduce artificial light, which is where any artificial light source comes in. There we go, you can see me now. I'm just holding it at arm's length. It's got the diffuser on it and this is quite low power. I could crank it up a bit. Whoa! This is one of the reasons why I don't make videos at night time, because it's technically quite difficult to walk and talk and film stuff in low light. Okay, so what you're going to experience now is one of the problems with filming in low light. Cameras start to fall apart in terms of their focusing. They're not that great. I mean, this is a Canon 80D, so this is really good at focusing, but when the light levels drop, it all starts to fall apart. I've got a Sony a7 III in my bag, really good in low light. However, focusing on that in the dark is really bad. So having a camera that can see in the dark doesn't actually fix the problem sometimes. You might be out of focus, or to start with the light was just really bad. So even if you can see your subject, bad light. You introduce a light source, camera is all over the focusing. Look, no problems whatsoever. I can see it focusing on me. No problems whatsoever. Nice. Most of us are familiar with how bright the torch is on our iPhone. So what I'll do now is I'll show you how bright this is in comparison to the iPhone torch. Is the iPhone torch lighting this up? You can see me? You can probably see me. Yeah, you can see me just fine. This is the iPhone torch. This can work absolutely fine. So this is the Lume Cube on 100%. All right, headline features. You've got rechargeable batteries built in. It's got a good weight to it. It feels well built. The manual says 2.5 hours of battery when it's at 50%. So without a diffuser, it's daylight balanced. And there's also another diffuser, which is a warming filter for if you're making videos under tungsten light. This is magnetic, so it just clips on like that. It's also waterproof up to 10 meters, and it's got an app so you can completely control everything. It's got a load of features which I'm not going to cover in detail in this video, but you can also use this, pair it with your phone, so you can take a photograph on your phone and this will flash to light up your subject. It's also got strobe effects built in. It's not the sort of thing I would use. I would use this as a constant light or a feature light. It's got a thread attachment on the bottom of it, so you could attach it to, say, a Manfrotto Pixie, which is what I use most of the time. It's got a USB-C charger port on the back of it, so you can charge it on the go as well. So at this time of year, I charge the batteries from my off-camera flash and I get my constant lights out for all of my video making. You've got Halloween, you've got bonfire night, you've got all the Christmas video opportunities coming up. It's dark when I wake up in the morning, it's dark when I get home. At the weekends, it's dark way too early. How am I supposed to make videos if it's dark all the time? This is the time of year when I charge up all of my lights. But when I do need to make videos in the dark, it's because I'm going out shooting sunrise and sunset. So when I go out, the beginning of my video will be dark, then the sun comes up. So if I need to make any content before the sun rises, I'm going to need a little bit of assistance from a light. But not everybody has a 2.8 lens, so let's make this light work a little bit harder. I'm going to put a wide angle slower lens on, see how that performs. So this is my usual vlogging setup. I'm using a 10 to 18 slow but stabilized lens. and it's not up to much, is it? You can't even see me. But when I introduce the light, that's at its lowest setting. So this is the torch on 20%. This is totally doable. You can see me. Background is just about visible. Sunset about half an hour ago. This is the usual vlogging setup. Maybe you just want to make videos with your phone. Well, this is also doable. I've got the iPhone XS using the front-facing camera. This is the Lume Cube on 20%. Plenty, no problem. Next, we can't just ignore the physics of light. There are a few things that determine the quality of light. First of all, the size of the light source. This is a very small light source. The diffuser helps by increasing the size of it, but it's still a very small light source. The other thing that affects the quality of light is the direction. Underneath, it looks like we're having a good time on Halloween. To the side is better. Up above is bad. Straight on is bad. Ideally, you want your light source to be coming at an angle at your face. What I'm doing here is I'm aiming the light straight at a white wall, bouncing the light off. Now my light source is 1 square meter. It's much softer, much more flattering. If you've got this opportunity, this is going to make your light source look a lot better. This is the light pointing straight at me, and this is the light bouncing off a wall. Much nicer. Physics lesson is over. How tight to the council they don't even light up the bandstand at night. Wonder if I can light up the bandstand. Let's have a go. How's that? Holy crap, I have lit up the bandstand. Look at that. So this isn't a cheap product when you compare it to other video lights. That's because it's got so many more features than a regular video light. I've got plenty of video lights at home. They take batteries, it's got an on and off switch and maybe a dimmer. That's the feature set of my other video lights. Batteries, on and off, dimmer. This has got an app, strobe effect, Bluetooth, underwater features, rechargeable batteries. It's got a good weight to it. It feels like a proper product. And that is why I was going to buy it anyway. It does fit in your pocket, and that is the reason why I can see me taking it everywhere. My other video lights, they're a bit bigger because I was concerned about the quality of light. The bigger the light source, the better quality of light. But this, with the diffusion panel, it looks good. It works just fine, and it's powerful. So everything in that direction is quite cool LED lighting, but everything in this direction is lovely and warm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this, without this, it's daylight balanced. It's also magnetic, it just clips on the front of the light. So now the color temperature of this light is the same as the background. So the deal is, I don't have to say anything positive about this light. They have sent it to me, I do get to keep it. But otherwise, this is my own personal opinion of this product. I would only ever talk about products that I feel strongly about. If you've seen some of my other reviews, I don't hold back on stuff that I don't think is very good. I think the best review of this product that I could give is that it's going to live in my camera bag from now on. So rather than me just standing here holding the light, talking about the light, why don't I use this for a vlog exactly how I would do. Let's go to Beachy Head. Well, good morning. I decided against going to Beachy Head, Seven Sisters this morning. The tides weren't working at all. So I've actually ended up back on Brighton seafront, but to a new location that I've never shot before. Behind me, if you can see these lights behind me, that is Brighton Marina. It's an hour before sunrise, and the reason I'm here so early and in the dark is because this is when low tide is. If you come down to Brighton seafront near the marina at low tide, you will actually see some original train tracks exposed from the Daddy Longlegs. Now you might think, I'll put up a photograph of the Daddy Longlegs, you might think that it's not real. It was a crazy idea by the Victorians so that people could go along the seafront this morning for foreground interest, and I'm not expecting an amazing sunrise. Low tide, foreground interest, train tracks, and then the Palace Pier will be in the background. So yes, just waiting game. Good news, this is going well, I think, from what I can see on the back of the camera. So I'm playing my usual game of avoid the incoming tide. I'm getting a 30-second exposure, no filters whatsoever. Sun has still got about half an hour before it comes up, but I'm getting a bit of interest and colour in the sky. I know it's not going to be an incredible sunrise, but actually I don't need that for the long exposure look that I'm going for. I'm going to take some shots before I get wet from this incoming tide. There you go, that is me cut off by the tide very quickly, and the sun has not yet come up, and that's the reason why I got here way before the sun came up. My composition, my foreground is already lost underneath the tide, so. So I'm actually very impressed at what this little thing can do. It's definitely earned its 4 cubic centimeters in my camera bag. So I'll give you an idea of what it's replacing in my life. This is a Godox small 36 LED light, which takes 2 AA's, and it's got a on and off switch, and it's got a power light, which is kind of like a dimmer. I've put a rudimentary, this is very rudimentary, but it works, it does the job. Didn't like the quality of light that was coming out of this, so I've put 2 layers of tracing paper on this, and I've masking taped that to the outside, and then a bit more brown tape around the edge. So to add to that, I've just wrapped around some Velcro attachments, and I've got a CTO gel, which is color temperature orange. So it's essentially replicating exactly the same thing. Tracing paper and masking tape, whereas the Lume Cube has got a magnetic filter for it, a bit more classy. This Velcro warming up gel, color temperature orange, on the Lume Cube is just another magnetic filter. It's did the job, but it's shoddy, and you can never really tell how much battery life was left in this. With this, using the app and the Lume Cube, I knew exactly how much battery was left in this and whether I had enough power to get the job done. But I've got a purpose for this. This is for when I'm making videos and I'm running and gunning or making a video for YouTube. It's definitely not going to replace my studio light, which is just out of frame. That's a massive softbox. It's not the same sort of quality of light. I've got a second light here, which is, might have to turn it down a bit. This is a Yongnuo massive LED panel. This isn't very portable. It's a different purpose really. So it's not going to be replacing that. You can see throughout the entire video I was holding it out at arm's length. If you're not a massive fan of that, then you might want to go with something like this. I've rigged up my ATD with an arm. This arm is made by Coolertron. Cheap and cheerful. It's made of metal, but rather than having the Lume Cube and putting it on the hot shoe, which is where your microphone's probably going to be, but even so, I wouldn't put it on the hot shoe because that's going to be pointing straight at you. If you can, get an arm, get a bracket system so that you can have the light off to the side. This will be your one-handed vlogging setup where you've got your camera, you've got your lens, you've got your microphone, and you've got your light source all in one place. And I put a little tripod on the bottom, so if you need to put it down, you can just rest that down there like that. I've only got one design criticism of this, and that is that you have to hold down the power button for 3 seconds to turn it on and off. And it might sound a bit petty, but 3 seconds is a long time. That was a boring bit of footage, wasn't it? Otherwise, I'm happy with it. It's a good product. So I'm going to hand you back to the younger me on the seafront, and if he'd have done his job properly in the first place, I wouldn't have had to film this outro conclusion thing anyway. But I forgive you, me, try harder next time, back to the younger me. Alright, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all the usual stuff. See you in the next video.